Welcome back, guys. I'm Zell, and today we're doing another Drinking and Thinking with Zell. So you've got 9 seconds to get to your drinking choice, and I'll be right back with you. It's early in the morning again, having a little coffee. Let's get right to sharp news. First up, we have Benchmade with the 310 proper, and that is a slip joint. Benchmade's never made one that I'm aware of, and it's kind of Benchmade trying to capitalize on the traditional market that is starting to gain some steam right now. And hopefully it's a cool knife. I'll try to get my hands on one at Blade Show and see what it's all about and let you guys know. Second up, Microtech and Everydaycommentary have come to a settlement. All we know about the settlement is that Everydaycommentary is going to do some community service, lending his lawyering skills to the knife community, and he's going to write a retraction, and he's going to hand over some transcripts he had with Kai's media manager to possibly bolster Microtech's lawsuit against Kai. Now, you guys know my opinion on this. I think it's a bunch of BS, and they need to quit. We all need to get along. No one is defaming anybody. I don't understand. I read the article. I didn't come away with it feeling like Microtech was a bunch of jerks or that Kai Industry was a bunch of jerks. I came away with the feeling that, and I already knew the story, but I came away with the feeling that it was as I had always thought. It was a little bit of banter back and forth, and there was the one lawsuit about a tangible item being the inset liner lock, and they settled that, and it should have all ended there. But here we are. Anyhow, Montana knife reform becomes law, and I didn't read through all of this, but the overview basically says that at the state level, Montana pretty much got rid of all of their knife restrictions. Now, I'm sure there's some still in place, and you are going to have to be careful about your county and city stuff, but at the state level, they've cleared things up, and that's awesome. Now, for the videos you need to view this week, first off, if you haven't seen CedrickAda, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, buddy, his cut tests, we've got a backyard scientist here that's doing a great thing, and he's getting pretty consistent results. So go watch some of them. It's not scientific, but it does give you a little more data to make some decisions on your steel choices. And they're kind of fun. Anyhow, get over there and watch some of Cedric's videos. And we have Kevin Cleary. Kevin did a top 10 knife channels as chosen by you. And that's a beautiful thing. And hey, we even got an honorable mention here. So thanks, Kevin, and thanks for whoever mentioned me in the surveys. And that's how he does that. He puts out surveys, and those surveys, we try to get them spread around the community. People answer the questions on the survey. Kevin collates the data, and then he brings up a video like this. And these things are great because it lets you know what's going on in the community, and it lets us as creators know what's going on in the community too, so that we can better serve you. And next up is Simple Little Life. Jeremy over there at Homestead Knives is building a forge. And if you've never watched any of Jeremy's vlogs, you should probably go and watch some just to give it a shot, because some of them are pretty great. Anyhow, this one's on building a forge. It's linked below just like everything else. And last up is Walter Sorrells in his Friday Fives. This week he's talking about calipers. And calipers are a dry subject, friends and neighbors, but Walter does the best he can with it, and he gives you how to use calipers in multiple different ways and does a wonderful job of making sure that whenever you're done with that video, you know how to use a caliper, what it's about, why it's there, and if you've ever thought maybe you needed some more precision measuring equipment, or a caliper in particular, you should probably go watch the video if you're not already well versed in how to use one, because Walter does do a good job there of letting you know what's going on. And for our question of the week, we're going to go to a camera down view, so here we go. All right, guys, our discussion today is QA or QC after the fact. And I use both those terms, quality assurance, quality control. And they don't really mean the same thing, but in the context of what we're talking about here, they do. Now, every time I do a video and I talk about having to send a knife back or talk about warranty service, we get a split in the comments and emails and all the other stuff. People will say, oh, well, they have super duper Cadillac customer service. And yes, some of them do. And others will say, well, until they can get their quality assurance or quality control fixed, I ain't buying that knife. You know, I make concessions for the marksman, and I probably shouldn't. But I just really, really, really enjoy that lock design, the G&G Hawk SLS lock. And here's what happens with a marksman. Whenever you buy a marksman, you get it. It's not going to be great. All right, it's probably going to be great right out of the box. But within 48 hours, that lock's going to need adjustment. And Buck doesn't send you any tools, and they use Allen wrenches on them, which is okay. I don't mind Allen wrenches, but the little adjustment down here is an Allen wrench that nobody's going to have in their house. You're going to have to make a trip to the tool store to get it, and then you have to make sure you get the right one because it's some little bitty dinky thing, size 1.5 or something like that. It's or 0.15. It's tiny, and so the marksman needs better quality control. It needs Buck to do something at the end of that line to make sure that that knife is worn in a little bit, it's been messed with some, and the adjustments on that lock bar are perfect, and somebody that picks up the knife is not going to have to adjust it for several months, and then they need to have a video out there on how to adjust it and put the tools in the box. They shouldn't expect people that are spending $80 to $100 and some odd dollars on a knife to have all these tools, because a lot of them don't. I know you may be watching this going, well, I got all them tools. Well, sure, you may have them all, but a lot of guys don't. A lot of guys don't own a torque set. A lot of them don't own a set of Allen wrenches because they were never taught how to deal with tools, and that's what we're here for, to help those guys learn. Don't pick on them. It's okay. We'll get them taught. And hopefully they'll learn how to fix a lot of other things besides pocket knives in the process. But that is a problem with knives like the Marksman. It's also an issue with companies that don't do good QA and QC whenever things are going on down the line or even at the end of the line. You know, we have other companies up here that don't do a great job of that. Sometimes their knives don't come out all that great, and then whenever you send them in for warranty service, they want to hand you caviar and wine or a beer, and not a freaking Bush. They want to hand you, an Amstel Light or, whatever your favorite beer is, Coronita. But anyhow, and they want to, rub your shoulders and do all this stuff and pay for shipping and have the knife only a total of about a week, and that's BS. It is great that they offer that sort of service for the warranty. It really, really is. And I really appreciate that. The problem is, every time I buy a knife from that company, I shouldn't have to use the warranty. Yeah, I'm getting a little loud. Sorry, guys. So we'll pull the knives that I have had to send in off the table, or send in or rebuild myself, I guess I should say. And then we have companies like this, like these guys. We all know about We. We has some QA and QC that is just wonderful. Very, very seldom does a knife slip out that's bad. And that's a beautiful thing. We know that Kaiser is very, very much the same way. And we know that Browse is very much the same way. I haven't seen a bad Browse knife yet. You know, this VR71, I've got a couple other Browse blades. All of them have been beautiful, and I haven't had to take them apart unless I just wanted to. They've had great lockup. It's just been a great thing. Millet. Now, this is a prototype knife. This wasn't even a full production knife. And whenever I ordered this thing from the guys, it'd been about a week, and I was like, where's that knife I ordered? And I messaged the guys, and they're like, oh, man, we're sorry. We had a couple of issues. We're having to remake some parts, and we want to make sure the knife is right before we send it out. And that is a beautiful thing. It would have been a little better if they had sent me a message earlier and saying, hey, it's going to be a few more days, but, you know, you don't always get that. But anyhow, what I ended up with was a knife that works extremely well. And then for your production companies, we have Spyderco, and yes, that one is on the table. And it's not on the table for the Chinese line. It is on the table because this is a US-made Kershaw, and for whatever reason, the US-made Kershaws are almost always right. Very seldom do you get a bad US-made Kershaw, and that's a great thing and it's an awful thing. Now let me explain the latter. It's an awful thing because there are a lot of people I know that have picked up a Kershaw Leak or one of the other Ken Onion designs, and they've had a great knife and they've had a great experience, and then they went back to the store, generally the same store they bought the first one at, or something like it, and they have picked up one of the newer models that happens to be made in China, and their experience goes to crap. And it's easy for that to happen because Kershaw does not have any designation besides the little USA and American flag on the newer models that separate their midline, if you will, from their Chinese line. And that's an annoyance to me. Doesn't really have anything to do with QA, or I guess it does have to do with QA and QC, because these are QA, QC'd Kershaw standards in the U.S., in their plant here, and the Chinese ones, of course, are done in China, and whatever standards that ODM has. You know, and then there's Spyderco. And this is a hard knife to flick out like that. There we go. Unless you've had it in your hands for a few days, it doesn't work all that great because of the way the knife's made. And we'll talk about this little guy at some point. But Spyderco is the only company, with the exception of and Kaiser, but of the major companies that's been producing knives for a long time, Spyderco is the only company whom I have never had to send a knife back with. I did, as you guys know, I did call one time about getting some screws for a paramilitary because my paramilitary had gotten stolen, and whatever, this person messed with the screws. I don't understand that, but whatever, they goobered up all the screws on it, and whenever I got it back, so I had to call Spyderco, and that was back whenever they threw fits about you taking the knives apart, and even though it had been stolen and I was trying to get it back to normal, they lectured me about taking the knife apart, I don't know, half a dozen times in the conversation. But the one reason I continue to buy Spyderco knives is because I've never had to send one back. So, back to I haven't sent them back, and good QA and QC. You know, here we go. We'll get a few here on the table. Not all of them, but some. What has your experience been, and what is your opinion of QA after the fact? I don't like it, because it's not QA or QC after the fact. It's warranty service, which means that knife was not right whenever it came out the factory. And that bothers me. What do you guys think? If they have got a great warranty and they're going to back you up, are you just going to order the knife anyhow? Or are you going to skip that knife even if they do have the Cadillac warranty because they're not coming out of the factory in good shape? Let me know down in the comments, guys. Let's have a conversation about this. And as always, I really appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out with me. This is one of the dwindling few Drinkin and Thinkins. We're going to be moving to that other format here in the next few weeks. Not really new format, new name. And I really appreciate you guys' support, and let's keep it going. And you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.